Salut tout le monde et bienvenue à Parlons Otaku. Aujourd'hui, on continue encore une fois The Fruit of Grisaia. J'ai une vague idée de où est-ce qu'on était rendu. C'est vrai, on était rendu dans la classe pour la première fois où on rencontrait les personnages. Je pense que c'était Michiru la dernière qu'on a eue, la blonde. Donc allons-y, commençons tout de suite. Bon matin tout le monde. So, 5 minutes before the start of class, particularly the moment after I re-enter the classroom, Amane and Sachi arrive. The tsundere from earlier is looking at me with naked aggression, but noticing the arrival of the others, resuming the performance in question, she promptly calls out to them. Mon dieu, c'est toute une réaction ça. The instant her greeting is returned, Michiru runs over noisily and shakes her hand in front of Sachi. Ah, ok, ouais. Le greeting de Sachi est différent, c'est pour ça. Wow, okay. Michiru, while glancing over in my direction, for some reason, desperately entreats Sachi. Amane, leaning on a desk, seemed to be occupied with trying to hold in her laughter. Oh. Pauvre Sachi. Elle est toute confuse. C'est un ordre. The instant Michiru speaks, Sachi's tears abruptly vanish as if someone threw a switch. Michiru watches her cautiously, sweating heavily. Elle aime vraiment pas ça se faire appeler de même. Oh mon dieu. Michiru staggered her way back to her seat with all the vitality of a limp rag. You feeling alright, Michiru-sama? Oh mon dieu. Okay. Sorry, just wanted to give it a try. Michiru collapsed weakly on her desk. Makina est arrivée. Makina's lisping voice sounds from the rear of the classroom. Seems like she might not be used to my presence yet, judging from the way she beelines straight for Amane, hides herself behind her, and steals glimpse at me.
Makina, 大丈夫よ。ちょっとムカつくとこもあるけど、こいつはそんな危ない人間じゃなさそう。
Wow, déjà je me fais juger, ça part bien. Appreciate it, Michiru.
別にあんたのためにしたわけじゃないわよ。
Yes, sir.
決まった！今のは綺麗に決まった！
Okay, keep up the good work. Ça fait, c'est genre... Ouais, il parle des des filles comme large woman, des fois, c'est bizarre. Apart from the large woman, these women seems to have ability, like, problème d'habilité. Peux-tu... C'est une manière que je peux revenir? Ah, shit. J'ai quand même oublié la ligne. Je suis désolé, guys. Désolé. Nothing but fantastically normal student here, eh? Principal? As if in response to my sarcasm, with the chimming of the opening bell. The perfectly normal principal appears before my eyes. Wait a second. There's only 4. As we've arrived at the beginning of the school day, I notice a difference from the information I heard yesterday.
みんな揃ってるわねってわけでもないかやっぱり
Effectivement, il en manque 2. C'est pas supposé, il en manque 2. Standing at the podium, the principal noticed the irregularity at a glance.
榊さんは今日はお休みかしら
Ah, Sakaki-san, okay. Il manque Sakaki-san. Her tone seems to be asking if anyone's familiar with the circumstances.
今日も重役出勤じゃないかしらここんとこずっとそうだし確かに最近は夕方からしか来なくなっちゃったわね
Okay.
みちゃんどうしたのかな
Yumi-chan.
何かあったんでしょうか
Apparently, I'm not the only one with question about our lone truant.
まあいいわ風見くんの紹介もしたかったけどそのうちに会えるでしょう
Eh, ça va être une autre fois, j'imagine, hein? You're strangely tolerant.
ちょっといろいろとあってねじゃあ出席を取ります
From an open window, the scent of the tide flows into the room. Perhaps because of the wall and steel fences surrounding us on all sides, it's not always easy to remember that this place is in fact close to the sea. In contrast to the breeze and the blue skies, intimidation of freedom, the grey of those jutting fences speak of denial and rejection. While my classmates raise their voice energetically, I pass the time staring into the sky. School life, huh?
ここが視聴覚教室です。すべての席にリスニングとヒアリングの機材が揃えられていて、語学学習にも適しています。
On se fait donner un petit tour de l'école par Sachi. Looks that way. I can tell from a glance that this place is well equipped. Using the time after the homeroom period, I'm getting a small introduction to the school facilities from Sachi. Normally, this will be the principal's job, but she seemed to be occupied with official duties, so I end up getting another tour from her class rep.
ライブラリはすべて外部にあるサーバーと高速回線でつながっていて、いつでも短時間で検索し鑑賞することができます。だからここには DVD とかブルーレイとかは一本もないんです。
Ah, c'est vrai, hein, 2000... ça fait un bout que ça a sorti encore les DVD, les Blu-ray, encore important. Which will make checking a movie out impossible, I guess.
そうですね。Amaneさんはそれで前に残念がってました。
Je me rappelle quand j'étais à l'école, genre les classes qu'on avait, où que on regardait des films, là, c'était les meilleures classes de la journée, là, je me rappelle. Sachi smiles a bit really as she speaks. Most of this stuff is probably in that pamphlet somewhere, but Sachi's explanations are comparatively to the point, clear and easy to understand. It seems she's actually quite intelligent.
過去に放送されたテレビ番組も全部ではありませんが鑑賞することができます。ないものについては請求して承認されればサーバーに入れてもらえますので。
Okay. Looks like they're weren't that sloppy on the casting after all, eh?
何のドラマの話ですか？
The school drama currently being broadcast?
以上になります。
Bon. Et bon petit tour par Sachi. Having completed a general review of the school facilities, Sachi's explanation come to an end. Thanks. It was a big help.
いえ、これもクラス委員の仕事ですから。
I guess so.
それより風見さんはまだここに残るんですか？
Yeah, there's still a classmate I haven't met yet, after all.
あ、そうですね。
Hearing my response, Sachi's brick's tone gave way to hesitant mumble.
あの、
Way to a hesitant mumble. What?
いえ、なんでもないです。すみません。
Okay. After a brisk bow, she quickly runs off down the hallway. Did I trigger a dead flag just now? Oh, la musique a arrêté. I don't think there's a single person in the world who wouldn't worry after that kind of ominous foreshadowing. Well, that might be an overstatement. There are some pretty carefree people out there. I'm just not one of them. Seems like it wouldn't be best to be on my guard, or more so than usual. The light fluting in through the window has shifted from overhead to my side. It won't be that long until the sun sets. Ah, on entend des bruits. After parting from Sachi, I walked the empty hallway alone. Ah, c'était mes bruits à moi. My surroundings are very nearly soundless, thanks to my habitually quiet footstep. But not so quiet, eh? However, inside the stillness, I sense a definite presence at my destination. She finally show up. I hear a faint sound from the interior of the previously silent classroom. With that confirmation, I slowly open the door. Aha. La voilà. The moment I enter the classroom, tension fills the air. Behind a window seat desk in the middle of the classroom, a chair rattles as its occupant turns to face me. My immediate impression of the girl, she doesn't appear particularly friendly. Yo. Hi, yo. While it might not be the most polite first greeting, I call out casually as I approach in order to demonstrate my lack of malicious intent. SAKAKI YUMIKO, right? Right? Her expression doesn't change. Sitting on the chair, absolutely stock still, she stares fixedly at me. I'm Kazami Yuji. I'm a new student here as of today. I come to a halt in front of her desk. So, I'll be your classmate as well, it seems. Pulling out a chair from the desk in front of her, I sit down. At the moment, we're about a meter apart. Ah, pas l'air de m'apprécier, je veux dire. C'est pas les meilleures impressions. Nonetheless, the woman stares at me so densely that she seemed to be forgetting to breathe. Rather than staring, her expression could probably be more accurately described as glaring. I wasn't able to introduce myself in the morning. Heard you'd probably be around in the evening. I keep talking regardless, but no response is forthcoming. Maybe she's got a psychological problem with men, like Makina? Maybe? But then again, she didn't try to run when I approached her. I changed my position in the seat on the seat to face her directly. Straddling the chair, I leaned forward slightly. The motion has close to 1 meter gap between us down to about 70 centimeter. I'd like to at least confirm your identity. Hey! Juste parti. Okay. As if to declare a refusal to acknowledge my existence. The woman stands from her seat and briskly moves to exit the classroom. How about at least responding to me? Come on! I follow her immediately. The woman opens the classroom rear door, just enough for one person to pass, and tries to slip her way outside. Hey! Calling out again, I try to follow her through the gap. Faut même que je fasse des onomatopées, ça va bien. In that moment, the woman forcefully slammed the door shut. She clearly closed it, knowing full well I was trying to follow. Her expression betrays surprise. Maybe she'd been expecting me to get my hand caught in the door, or back off from having it slammed in my face. Instead, the door she attempted to slide closes firmly held open by my hand. On an outcome she apparently hadn't been prepared for. You could have broken my hand, you know that. Although she's the one who was trying to shatter my fingers, she's glaring at me like I'm the bad guy. What exactly did I do to deserve this from someone I've just met? I'm just looking for an introduction. Open the half-shut door as I take a step forward. She doesn't back down. Oh! Nice reflex. Okay. Quite the greeting. I stopped the motion of her hand about 5 centimeters before its target. It isn't the most efficient block, but for the purpose of diffusing her reckless hostility, an easily comprehensible action seems necessary. I was expecting something of the sort, but you favored a classic slap to the face, I see. Maintaining my grasp on the woman's wrist, I stare her down at short range. Well, c'est ça. As for the woman, she's staring right back, her eyes open wide with shock, completely still. Ah, musique revient. Well then, let me ask you again. The strong orange glow of the evening sun illuminated the classroom. Are you SAKAKI YUMIKO? Her expression hostile as ever, the woman slowly opened her mouth. With an air of slight resignation, but clearly unwavering in her refusal of any relation with me, she speaks. Okay. Good to meet you. Tout ce que je voulais, c'était m'introduire. As the evening sun fell behind a cloud, its light dimmed in the classroom filled with shadow. With the sound of Yumiko's breath and the faint roar of the wave from beyond the walls, the curtain was raised on my normal student life. Ah. Oh! On a droit à une introduction. Wow. Après presque 2 heures de gameplay, on a une introduction. The World Trees of Grisaia. Ah, j'ai pas eu le temps de lire. Dommage. Ah, Yumiko Sasaki. Amane Su. It's a nice sweetheart. Michiru Matsushima. Makina Irisu. Et Sachi Komine. Et Shizuru Tachibana. Oh. Yuji Kazami. C'est nous. Amazing. Épique. Épique. Je m'attendais pas à ça. Ok. Le 4 juin à 8h15. Bon. Wow. Par contre, ça a été long avant qu'on ait une introduction. Techniquement, c'est environ 2 heures de gameplay. Donc, quand même. 2 heures de gameplay avant d'avoir enfin une intro. The period of the school day before classes begin in fundamentally blank, meaningless time. They say it's always best to arrive 20 minutes early, but preparing for a class takes 60 seconds at most. After that, there's no much to do other than wander around awkwardly. Still, I've always imagined school life as a fairly relaxed experience. A part of me was actually wondering if a little aimless downtime might be enjoyable in its way. But unfortunately... Okay. What again? Oh! Elle a essayé de nous stab? Avec un exacto-list. What the fuck? That slightly pitiful fantasy was shattered all too quickly. Genre, what the fuck? Of course, I'm not going to break a sweat from any attack of Yumiko's, but being slashed at with a blade isn't the kind of pleasant breather I had in mind. I guess she had thought it a particularly well-timed attack, judging from the shocked gaze she's directing at me as she's catch her breath. Je vais la voir, come on. Of course, given that conspicuous clicking sound and her plainly audible footstep, she might as well have been screaming, "Here I come." But time moves at half speed in my immediate vicinity. Giving a straight answer will be a pain, so I pull something out of my ass. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm just screwing with you. I'll pay for that, eh? Maybe it's just me, but I think trying to stab your classmate is somewhat worse. Oh my god. C'est quoi cette logique-là? It's not a crime until you actually get stabbed. What? This woman's copy of the criminal code seems to be missing the page on attempted murder. Exactement. But judging from the way she momentarily bought my nonsense, she's inexplicably hairhead, maybe a bit naive, will be the nicer way to put it. There's only 6 of us here. It will be harder to forget. Wow. Still glaring at my direction, Yumiko retracted the blade of her box cutter. A snorting in displeasure leaves with a flutter of her skirt. When I return to the classroom, Amane strikes up a conversation. I guess the story of the knife assault in question has already spread around in the classroom, as my problem with Yumiko seems to be common knowledge. It's not like she's doing me any harm, but I can't say I'm enjoying this. Wow, flashback déjà. Okay. In our first encounter, I approached the stubbornly silent Yumiko in a physical sense. The outcome was her initial act of rejection. In part, that might have been the result of my own head-ended wariness. Sachi's heavy-handed foreshadowing put me on guard, and I have a tendency not to trust someone I'm meeting for the first time. C'est pour ça qu'il y a eu le bon réflexe. At that time, while I certainly felt an animosity from her, it wasn't so intense as to discourage me from approaching. However, from our second encounter, Yumiko bare open hostility towards me. What's worse, apparently having come to the conclusion that she wasn't a match for my bare-handed, she's been swinging around a box cutter of all things. According to Amane, it seems that Yumiko has something of a habit of brandishing retractable knife at people. Of course, her goal is usually more intimidation than anything else, but speaking as the target this time, I can sense there's a part of her that's seriously trying to stab me. It's not the best feeling in the world.
ライバルとして認められたってことじゃないのかな。あの子、うちらには威嚇の意味で歯を出したりはするけど、本当に切りつけたりはしないし。
Wow. Okay. I'd really prefer to avoid that kind of recognition.
いきなり接近しようとするからよ。近寄ってわからなかった？あの子の周りに強烈に張られたバリア。
C'est donc ma faute si elle décide de me slasher avec un box cutter. Avec un exacto. Wow. Didn't notice.
ユージ君って強そうに見えるけど、鈍感さは命取りになりそうね。
I'm pretty perceptive when my life's in danger, but I don't really feel that level of threat from Yumiko.
ユージ君って普通の恋愛とかはちゃんとできるの？
Wow, okay. My master did say I was exceptionally unskilled in that department. Tu l'admets. At any rate, I want to do something about Yumiko's aggressive rejection of me. For that purpose, I'll need to talk to someone familiar with her circumstances.
Hi, hi! Homeroom を始めるわよ!
With the attendance books in her hand as usual, her carefree principal appears. I guess Shizuru is the only one I can ask. Okay, donc, in conclusion, Yumiko seems to hate me with a passion.
榊さんがどうかはともかく、あなたが嫌われる理由はよくわかるわ。
Wow. Oh, let's hear it then.
ほうじゃないわよ。事情を知っていて暇そうなのは学園長ぐらいしかいないと思ったから聞きに来たって。わざわざ宣言して部屋に入ってくるとか何考えてるのよ。
I only said what I was thinking. Was I wrong?
違うわよ。
Okay.
一応。
Got it. In indifference to your feelings. No matter how much I think you're lazing around, I'll keep it quietly buried in my heart from now. Good enough?
そんなこと言われたら疑心暗鬼になるだけでしょ。
What do you want from me? Spare me the vague complaints. What's your pleasure?
だから嫌われるのよ。
Do you have an idea?
なんでも。で、質問の答えだけど。
The principal, cup in hand, lowered herself across from the sofa I'm reclining on.
榊さんはこの学園の創設以来の学生なの。
This place just opened recently, right?
ほぼね。一応 応学園の設立は今から1年前ぐらいだから。
Quand même assez jeune comme école, oui.
彼女はその時からここにいるのよ。
I see. What does that have to do with her rejecting me? Before responding to my question, she takes a sip of coffee from the cup in her hand.
自分のテリトリーに入ってくるのが怖いんでしょ。
Frightening?
そう。これまでは自分の認識できるものしかここには来なかったのに、いきなり異性の、それも得体の知れない人間が自分の近くに入り込んできた。
Quand même. Principal Tachibana takes a pen in her empty hand and jabs it towards me to emphasize her point.
なので排除しようとしたってことじゃないかしら。
Hazing, is it? A bit of bullying comes with being a fresh recruit, but I didn't expect the same here.
いじめにしてはいじめられる側が強力すぎるけどね。
Apparently, unconvinced by the idea of Sakaki stealing my lunch money, Principal Tachibana hides a snort of laughter behind her hands. Although it's certainly amusing considering the balance of her physical strength, I don't see how I can manage a decent student life at this rate. I am honored to have provided a moment of amusement for a perpetually overworked principal. But I came here hoping to have a path toward overcoming this challenge illuminated by your educational guidance.
あなた、実は私をいじめる目的でここに来たんでしょ。
Cranky from beginning to end, ultimately the principal didn't provide me with any useful advice. This is what a school is like, so figure it out for yourself. A normal school life means a few problems like this. I do have to admit she managed to dodge the issue reasonably well with that last line. In any case, since she didn't have any clear answer for me, I'm left with no choice but to do as she says and try to work on this overtime. It's not really my style to go with the flow like this, but if that's the proposal of my educational guide, there's no helping it. Exactement. Oh, alright. Elle essaie encore de nous stabber avec son exacto. Non, ça marche pas.
スパーリングみたいになってきたわね。
Wow.
新兵を手のひらの上であしらう教官なのよさ。
最初はハラハラしましたけど、こうなってくると緊張感のかけらもないですよね。
Oh, okay.
どうして？
The result of going with the flow. Yumiko's attacks have been continuing without any particular change to date.
ユージもしっかり相手しちゃうから。
Look, could you quit it already?
うるさい。
Oh! Her movement thrown off by my sudden sidestep, Yumiko staggered forward unsteadily. She tried desperately to regain her balance, but resulting in a ridiculous pose in strong contrast with her usual haughty demeanor. Michiru let out an involuntary giggle at the spectacles. She's instantly pierced by Yumiko's furious glare. Oh wow. Bully. Ignoring Michiru's as she cowered behind her desk. Yumiko storms out of the classroom in a towering rage.
言っちゃった。このところずっとリプレイを見せられているようです。
Wow. J'avoue que...
怖かった。何よあの目。相変わらず人を凍えさせるのに十分な威力を持ってるわよ。
Ça fait quand même longtemps que j'ai fini l'école, mais il me semble que pas pantoute relié à ce qu'on avait à l'école.
チルチルにはきっと血の報復があるのよさ。
ちょっとやめてよマキナ。
お楽しみに。
お楽しみにじゃねえ。
C'est ça. Ah, j'ai oublié de lire, je pensais que quelqu'un disait oh my god, je suis désolé encore. Ça fait 2 fois là. Ça part mal. Ça part mal. Even if this little routine doesn't bother them as a directly concerned party, it's problematic. Hey, Amane. In response to my call, she points to herself with her index finger, silently asking, Me? When I nod, she approached in her usual pointlessly sexy way.
なになにどうしたの？榊さんとの対戦格闘に疲れたから私の胸の中で安らぎたくなった？
Ok, c'est direct dans la crème ça. I'm sorry, do you actually want me to treat you like a sex worker?
ユージ君がそれを望むのならそういう日があってもいいかな？
Wow. I'll be sure to keep that offer in mind, but that's not what I need today.
は？なんなの？
You've known her, right? Yumiko for a long time?
そりゃ確かに多少は他の子よりかは付き合いも長いけど。
Any idea about the reason she's rejecting me this intensely?
ごめん、わからない。ああいう子でしょ？正直、事務的なこと以外に話す機会もあまりないのよね。
Fair enough. I see.
ユージ君も来たことだし、これから少しずつ話とかできればとは思うけど、今は私もほぼデフォルトに近い状態なのよね。
Certainly, Yumiko hardly seems the type to open up and reveal herself to someone just because they've known each other a while. I guess I'll have to find a solution myself after all. Thanks anyway. Let me know if anything comes to mind. With those words, I move to exit the classroom. If Yumiko's rejection continues to take this form, I'll have no choice but to ask the principal advice against. At the moment, I open the door and prepare to leave.
仲間意識かな？
I stop at the sound of Amane's voice.
ユージ君ってさ、よそから来た人じゃん？そういうとこ、あの子は異物感があって嫌なのかもね。
Quand même. Mais en même temps, est-ce que... En tout cas, c'est un peu exagéré comme réaction selon moi encore là. She's saying the same thing as the principal, hein? Does it feel that way to you as well, Amane?
私はそんなことないわよ。ユージ君を全力で支援しちゃうから。
It's a little hard to take that seriously given the flow of this conversation.
ユージ君のこと仲間だって思ったら戦いも終わるかもね。
I returned to the dorm and wandered the hallway without any particular objective. Compared to shutting myself up alone in my room, it's easier to gather my thoughts. One of the group, huh? I recall Amane's parting words. It's easy for her to say, but actually getting that islands of human being to recognize me as a friend seems next to impossible. First of all, we're not even on speaking terms yet. Huh, this late already? The sun is sinking below the window frame, casting shadows along the hall. About time for me to return to my room. Guess I'll try talking to her tomorrow. I scratch my head as I turn towards my bedroom. The sound of my slippers echoes roughly in the hallway. Yumiko might have her own set of internal rules. since she hasn't tried to attack me even once while inside the dorm. It's not that I was particularly off my guard as a result of that assumption. Rather, it was probably because it happened at this particular time of the day. Or so I will reflect to myself later. Evening, a hallway in the dormitory lit by the setting sun. At the flash of trusting light, I react instinctively and grab her arm firmly. With her hand captured, Yumiko's face stiffened. The box cutter blade still extended, rattled around at her feet, turning in circle around the handle. Trying for the element of surprise, eh? Yumiko's expression changed from shock to fear. That's what tips me off that I'm not wearing my peaceful face. Sorry, that came out of nowhere, so I couldn't hold back. I didn't want to frighten her. I thought I could play the normal student. I wanted to convince myself that I could. Look, Yumiko, still gripping her arm, I look into her eyes and speak. I am not your enemy. Yumiko's expression betrays uncertainty for just a moment. But just as quickly, it settled back into her customary mask. But it doesn't look like you're convinced of that yet. So let me say one thing. Releasing her arm, I pick up the box cutter lying in front of her feet. Carefully retracting the blade, I hold it out to Yumiko. I won't cause you harm, and I won't pry into your business either. That's a promise, so stop this. It's pointless. Observe me and reach your own conclusion. If I'm lying, you can always try stabbing me again. Stumbling, Yumiko retreats a single step. Bye. Yo, ça c'était bonne réaction ça. Turning around, I return to my room. Normally, Yumiko will seize such a chance to attack, but something's different now. Her elongate shadow is still, and the hallway is silence except for the small sound of her breathing. Le 5 juin, 16h. After that day, Yumiko's attack came to an abrupt halt. Hopefully, I can use this as an opportunity to slightly improve our relationship. I'm trying to live a normal campus life, so it would be nice to minimize the number of classmates who wants me dead. Yo. Toujours pas, hein? As usual, to call Yumiko's behavior when we come across each other's curt will be an understatement. But at the very least, judging from the clearly different way she's looking at me, her observation period seems to be ongoing.
あなたに質問があるんだけど。
I'll answer, unless you want me to know my weakness.
それを聞こうと思っていたのに。
What a shame. Come up with something else. She occasionally talked to me like this, but instead of friendly chats about our lunch plan, we have investigative inquiries and careful negotiation. Even so, I suppose it's a considerable improvement over outright bloodshed.
いつか絶対に弱点を握ってやる。
Is that your idea of social interaction between classmates?
まだそうと認めたわけじゃない。
Ça part bien. Right then. I opened my hand in an exaggerated American-style shrug. Well, good luck to you, Yumiko. I think it's time to leave before she starts probing any further.
あのね、あなた。いい加減名前で気安く呼ぶのやめてくれない？
Seems like she's hung up on that point. After those events, I've been intentionally addressing Yumiko's by her first name. The family name will actually be more appropriate here, but I've got a bit of a reason for doing this. Says the woman who's never referred me to anything but you. Oh.
だからといって、いきなり名前ってことはないでしょ。
Wow. Good comeback. So you're saying as classmate we should both use last names? Yumiko's expression clearly reads, oh crap.
なんであなたと同等の立場で呼び合わないといけないの？
Isn't that the starting point for building a cordial relationship?
だからといって。
Alright, in that case, I'll take our friendship to the next level by making up a pleasing nickname for you. Not to worry, you can do the same for... It might be a little early for that, so I propose starting with last names. Yumiko hesitated briefly, but before long, she opened her mouth stiffly and in tight voice.
よろしくね、風見くん。
After speaking those words with a cramped attempt at a smile, she stalked off. Yeah, best regard, Sakaki. Thus, after great hardship, I finally succeeded in establishing an absolute minimum level of communication with my 5th classmates. Seems this student life thing is pretty rough in its own way. Ok, 6 juin, 15h58. Je viens de voir le temps. Malheureusement, je vais être obligé de finir l'épisode à ce moment-ci, mais je suis content. On a enfin rencontré Sakaki. Donc maintenant, on a toutes les filles de l'école qu'on a vues. On n'a toujours pas fait de choix encore, mais on m'avait vraiment dit que ça prendrait beaucoup de temps avant que les choix arrivent. Donc je sais pas qu'est-ce que les choix vont avoir l'air, je sais pas quand ça va arriver, mais j'espère que prochainement ça va arriver. Et voilà, donc j'espère que vous avez aimé l'épisode de Fruit of Grisaia sur le visual novel. S'il vous plaît, laissez un petit like, un petit pouce bleu si vous voulez me voir faire les autres épisodes prochainement. Et donc, n'oubliez pas de suivre la page Parlons Otaku. Alors, je vous vois dans le prochain épisode. N'oubliez pas, soyez Otaku. À la prochaine!